the relative usefulness of a worker to the usefulness of a machinery up to the cost of workers compared to the cost of machinery. I'm going to draw the same exact graph again right next to it, just to illustrate the same point, but with one set of cost lines like this, where labor is expensive, and one set of cost lines like this, where labor is cheap. L, K. Two firms, or the same firm with the same productive capacity tries to make the same good in, say, the US or in Mexico. In each case, they will try to be cost efficient. So in each case, they're going to try to get to the lowest cost curve they can. In the US, wages are relatively expensive compared to capital, so they have steep cost curves. These slopes are W over V, and so if it's like 20 over 10, they're relatively steep. Over here, the W part of things is only 1, and the V is still about 10, so these slopes are flat. In each case, they want to get to the lowest cost of producing the good. Well, in the US case, it's going to turn out to be right there, with lots of capital and very little labor. And at that point, the marginal product of labor over the marginal product of capital is going to be equal to the cost of a worker compared to the cost of capital. This firm, in working with the United States, will choose to use lots of capital and very little machinery to get to their lowest cost method of 100, right there.
Lots of capital and few
Lots of
workers?
capital and few workers.
Okay.
And that's the cheapest cost line they can get to. The same firm, when it's operating in Mexico, with the same production function, the same production, chooses to use lots of workers and much less capital. This much capital and this much labor. Each firm is getting to the lowest cost line they can. So each firm is being cost efficient. And in each firm's case, the marginal product of labor over the marginal product of capital, which is the slope of the quantity, the isoquant, will be equal to the market's price of workers compared to the market's price of capital. It just turns out that the market's price of labor relative to capital is a lot cheaper in Mexico. So this is just sort of a complex way of sketching out the obvious, which is that in low-wage countries, they are prone to have more labor-intensive industries. In high-wage enterprises and countries, they're prone to have more capital-intensive work. Oh, where do I go from here? Let's go.
How about home?
I can show you.
Can you just define isoquant and isocost again without drawing a graph?
An isocost curve is a line of equal cost with its slope defined by the price of labor divided by the price of capital. It's a line of equal cost with the slope defined by the price of labor or price of capital.
Right.
Quantity is a line of equal quantity derived from the production function that shows all the different ways to make a certain quantity. If you've been a great technological advance, what would that do? It would, and understand there's not just a Q100. There's a Q101, this may be where I go, Q102, Q99, and so on. there's one of these for every number, the amount of production. And each of those corresponds to one point along the cost curve. And so when I say the firm's being cost efficient, it means that they're doing one of these cost minimizations for every quantity. They're finding the cheapest way to produce every quantity given the constraints they face. They're finding the cheapest way here, here, there, and so on. I'll go back to my Cobb Douglas for a moment. Just
Do we need to memorize these equations for the midterm?
what equations?
Like this one?
Well, you have to know that they take the form of Q equals K times some L.
So yeah.
But look at my old midterm, you can see how much that you need to do that or not. And
Is it open note?
Open video.
the marginal product of labor is the worth of each worker. If you just take the Q for the firm and divide it by L, that's average. Q divided by L is just, we divide that by L, and you divide this by L, which you can do mathematically or not. That's now called average labor productivity. Productivity. Well, if you added it up across all the firms in the country, that's the famous number which you hear talked about all the time in the news, which is called labor productivity. Did it grow? Is productivity up? That's all it is. It's the production function of each firm divided by the number of workers or worker hours. Did it grow for that firm, and did it grow across the country? How do you grow labor productivity? You hopefully find a way to make more Q for the same amount of L or less L. That's how you grow labor productivity.